Hey, look, YouTube. Welcome back to a new video on this very quite sad and very touching day. Not just in the UK with the passing of the Queen, but I'm sure her loss will be affected and felt by people across the world, across the Commonwealth. She's done such a good job over her country, no matter whether you're a royalist or a Republican. I think we can all agree that she was an amazing human being who has done so much for this country over her 70 years as monarchy when she became queen in 1952 all the way to now. I'm sure you've been hearing it all over the news, no matter where you are in the globe. And hope Charles does a good job as being king. But today on this video, I'm not going to be discussing about the monarchy. I'm going to be talking about the championship, which is as English as you can get, I think, because the second tier of English football, one of the most exciting ones, especially Derby's was in there for quite a while, so I obviously know quite a lot about it. And so here are your best transfers for each club during this summer. Birmingham City, I've gone with John Ruddy. Every time he plays well, and he trains well, despite him being second fiddle when he was at Wolverhampton Wanderers. And he has 3 times been promoted from a championship. Last time he was in the championship in 2017-18, Ruddy kept 22 clean sheets. Over 45 matches was how many he played. So that's about half of it. And he was named in the PFA Team of the Year. He's also played in the Europa League with Wolves and led them to the semi-finals of the FA Cup. He was in the England's Euro 2012 squad, making an appearance actually in a friendly against Italy, coming on at half-time, keeping a clean sheet in that half. Blackburn Rovers, Dominic Hyam. Hyam arrives with plenty of championship experience, having played 88 times in the last 2 seasons. For the past 2 seasons, Dom has consistently been amongst the best central defenders in the championship, demonstrating his ability to pass through the lines in possession, defending 1v1 situations, and be a leader on and off the pitch. He has also got experience of being promoted, as he was part of a double promotion winning side of Coventry City when they came from all the way down from League 2 to the Championship in only 3 seasons. And my dad's a Coventry City fan, and he is really quite, I wouldn't say upset, just thinks it's a really bad selling for Coventry side. Good for Blackburn though, eh? Blackpool have gone with Andy Lyons. Interesting, there's been a lot of Irish league transfers recently, especially in League One I've seen, planning for next week's video. But the 22-year-old has European experience with Shamrock Rovers and has made 32 appearances for the club, scoring 8 goals. He provides squad depth, but also versatility, being able to play on either wing, but the wing back position that is. But he prefers it probably at right back, which is where Appleton, as manager, wanted to focus this transfer window. He is highly rated in Ireland, being part of their under-21 setup, and for a player who is so young, he's already amassed over 100 senior appearances. Bristol City, Cal Naismith. Last season, he was Luton Town's Player of the Season and is very experienced at Championship level, but has also achieved promotion with Portsmouth from League 2, but also helped Rangers on their rise back up through the leagues. Personally, I'm surprised he's not made a first-team Scottish appearance, but he has made a few under-16s and 17s appearances. Bristol City can expect a utility player, which is why he is such a strong asset. He's a left-sided centre-back, as he is left-footed, which is quite rarity nowadays, actually. But he can and has played as a left-back and in midfield. I think he can even play probably on the left wing, but he's a player who can play in about 3 or 4 different positions. They're getting a good squad player who can cover a lot of depth across the season. He's physical. He's not a big strapping centre-back, but he's hard and he has got physical presence about him. He can play too. He's quite a cultured player in the fact that he doesn't panic on the ball. Because he can play in midfield, he's got the technical skills that maybe some centre backs don't have. So in that sense, he's a good signing. But the biggest thing is that he can play in so many positions. If a midfielder's out on this week, it'll be like, oh, it's okay, Naismith can play there. Or the left back's out for a couple of weeks, no problem, Naismith can cover. I don't know what he's been promised by Nigel Pearson, but he's definitely gone on record saying he prefers playing as centre back. He's 30 now, too, so he's got the experience and some championship nuance or nounce. He's played at the upper ends of League One and this level, so I suppose he's got that maturity about him as well. Therefore, by being a guiding hand really for any of the youngsters, although Bristol City don't have that many youngsters, they're more of an experienced side in terms of their squad on paper anyhow. I'd say centre back, which is his preferred position, is the one which I'd say is what he would be best at. But he's also good in defensive midfield position too. I know that has been an area which is a certain target for Bristol City. Also, at points last season, he was Luton's penalty taker, and he's also involved in free kicks and set pieces. Burnley, Benson Manuel Hedilazio. I definitely hashed that last name up. The 25-year-old has spent the last 7 seasons in the Belgian First Division with Antwerp and Genk, and he's had loan spells to Mouscron and Eredivisie side PEC Zwolle in between. Benson began his career with the Belgian side Liège, spending 4 years there before a switch to Genk in the summer of 2017. After 3 seasons with Genk in the top flight, where he won the Belgian Super Cup in the process, Benson then made the move to Antwerp in 2019. Internationally, the Lokeren-born attacker has represented Belgium from under-19 to under-21s level and has 14 UEFA Europe Leagues appearances with 2 goals. He's a hard-working player that will help improve their team as well as improve his own game in English football. He's a 1v1 specialist who is a threat in the final third, and I have no doubt that he will be giving his all for Burnley and for his teammates. Cardiff City, Kion Etete. The 20-year-old made 20 appearances for Tottenham's under-23 side in the Premier League 2 during the 2020-21 campaign, scoring 9 goals before enjoying 2 successful loan spells in the EFL last season. The centre-forward scored 3 goals in 13 League 2 appearances for Northampton Town in the first half of the campaign, before adding another 3 strikes to his tally whilst featuring for Cheltenham Town in League 1. Obviously, having gone from League 2 to League 1, the Championship is the next one in the logical food chain. He'll always work hard for the team and the club. Winning is the number 1 priority at the end of the day, and he'll do as much as that as he probably can to fulfill that. He's got all the attributes to be a top striker. He's strong, he's quick, and he's athletic. He will bring other players into the game, and he will run all day long. They've got a top player on their hands, Cardiff, do they? He's young, he's hungry, and he's a player that is for the immediate future. He can only get better and better. Coventry City, Casey Palmer. He's a number 10, and he's occasionally been moved about a bit and has played out wide. Just really as a stopgap to get him on the pitch. I remember when he did that back at Derby, he wasn't that good there. He's better as a 10 though, with a striker or strikers in front of him who he can set up. He has elite level technique. He was a great prospect at Chelsea, and his dribbling, his ability to beat a man, and his eye for a pass that often no one is seeing. His first time passing or outside of a dribble, he just finds enough space for players with his weighted pass. He's obviously draws fouls, and his general invention is definitely elite level championship, to be fair. There's clearly Premier League level technique in what he does from his first touch and the way he moves about the pitch, but there's a reason why so many young fans at City have taken to him and flown the flag for him even when he hasn't been in the team. Because he has these moments of unreal individuality that can create a goal and change the game. Now, not a lot of that has happened in the last 12 months, I know that, but it's in him if he's used in the right system. His through balls when he gets beyond defenders and has space to pick passes and he can completely carve teams open. I'm going to have a quick drink. Huddersfield Town, Jack Rudney. Jack is a goal-scoring attacking midfield player with serious potential because of Anaka being in the right place at the right time, either arriving late into the box or shooting from the edge of the box with a very good left foot, and surprisingly good in the air. He is somebody most at home in the final third in and around the opposition box, but a player with definite potential to develop into a more all-rounded midfielder with the right coaching and development. Mostly the thing that stands out with a young player like Rodney compared to others of his age is how innate his movement seems to be, getting into difficult goal-scoring positions. It's a very difficult skill to teach, and therefore is a valuable skill to have. He has got a serious work ethic, and he's incredibly determined to fulfill the potential that he has, and he is very hard-working. You can expect goals from attacking midfield areas, as he grew up idolising Frank Lampard, and the way he always seems to arrive at the box at the right time. Once he finds his feet in the team, I would probably be expecting him to be the sort of player that Huddersfield fans are surprised and delighted to see popping up at the end of chances regularly. And hopefully they'll be hoping he will be taking them as well, because his finishing has been good in his career so far. He is someone with definite potential to grow as a lot, really, as a footballer in his all-round game. But as an attacking midfield player, he's not someone who dribbles the ball a lot. He's a good passer and combines very well with teammates. And what he has shown clearly is his eye for goal. If you're a modern team that wants goals to come from attacking midfield as well as your number nines, then that is what Huddersfield have got in signing Jack. I personally feel he's a bit like Louis Sibley at Derby, but that's probably not a helpful comparison to make to any Terriers fans. Hull City, Alahaya Sayadamanesh. Definitely pronounced that wrong, but the Iranian is a physically imposing striker who has an instinct for finding the net. At 6 foot tall, he possesses the strength to outmuscle defenders, but prefers to run in behind and score the majority of goals from inside the penalty area. He's averaged a 28% conversion rate while he was on loan at Zoya Luhansk in 2020-21, highlighting his ability to finish. And at 21 years old, there is plenty of time for him to work on his game. I've got Grant McCann here, but I don't know if that's actually the right manager anymore. He did play a 3-5-2, but the front line rarely consisted of two strikers, with players occasionally operating out of position. Sayad Manesh's arrival would see him given one of the two starting berths up front and allow wide players to play in their most effective role out wide. But obviously now Grant McCann is no longer inside. I'm pretty certain that is the case. I think they brought someone in from Turkey, who I can't remember what he's called now. Luton Town, Carlton Morris. A strong and mobile frontman and stands at 6 foot 2 inches tall. And he was also an England under-19 international who made 3 appearances and he scored 2 goals during that time. During his spell at Barnsley, he made 51 appearances, scoring 14 goals. I describe him as offering a bit of everything. He's strong and quick and good technically. Middlesbrough, Marcus Force. Force is best described as a fox in the box. But far from being just an old-fashioned poacher, he is able to create space for others through his off-the-ball movement, or release teammates with simple deft touches. Whilst he is relatively uninvolved in possession, Force works hard off the ball, willing to hurriedly press his opponent throughout the match, and knowing when exactly to step to an opponent and force an error. Similarly to Erling Haaland, actually, who I mentioned in the last video, Force is a hard-running forward who is incredibly efficient with each of his touches. Force has an innate ability to create danger whenever he's on the ball. He knows where his teammates are, he knows where they are running to, and he knows which direction to play the ball towards. Force is an efficient poacher inside the box. He boasts an ability to carve out goal-scoring chances via his incisive movement inside the box, whilst he is also a stone-cold finisher who makes the most of his chances. Also, similarly to Haaland, Force also excels at creating space for his teammates by his intelligent movement and quick layoff passes. Apart from his efficient finishing inside the box, Force's best quality is his ability to create danger on the counter. His speed of mind and doggedness allows him to force mistakes from the opposing team and then kickstart the attacking transition, causing plenty of havoc for the defence with his aggressive running. His impressive finishing ability is aided by his in-game awareness, as he has the speed of mind and movement to latch onto opposition mistakes and arrive in goal-scoring positions. At 6 foot 1 inches and 168 pounds, Force has the ideal physique to capitalise on opposing errors, chasing down long balls and force mistakes with his intense pressing. He is far from a penalty box poacher. He is a hard-running striker who can cause danger on the counter. Millwall, Zian Fleming. Fleming mostly plays as an attacking midfielder, mostly slotting it in just behind the front man. Zion often tends to roam and find space out wide and pick out a pass through on goal. As well as venturing out of position out wide, he would also tend to take runs behind a lone striker, which would often catch teams out. This is where some of his goals come from. In terms of a player's attitude, it appears that Fleming is an influential type of player who works hard for the team and shows a great amount of passion on the pitch. He's also aggressive but smart in his approach when it comes to duels and is an asset as a set piece taker. In terms of Zian's attacking metrics, he contributed well to the team with his goals scored output. He's more of an attacking midfielder who opts to shoot on sight in an attempt to score. Based on his defensive metrics, though, we can see that Zion is someone who works hard for his team, as he has a high rate of duels per 90, and in addition, he has a fair amount of interceptions that he makes per 90, which will be beneficial for when he plays in the EFL this season. As mentioned already, Fleming is a set piece taker, which again will be a huge benefit for Millwall, as Zion has also scored a fair few free kicks last season. Zion is good at finding himself in good spaces to drive his team in an attacking situation, which actually makes sense why he plays mainly as a cam. Finally, the Dutchman has a good percentage of aerial duels won, which in the EFL will serve him very well and an extra threat against the opposition for the season ahead. Norwich City, Gabriel Sara. Sara has spent his entire career with Sao Paulo, rising through their youth ranks before making 113 appearances for the Brazilian top-flight club, scoring 17 goals in all competitions. A central midfielder predominantly, but Sara can play in a range of positions, including right wing and in the number 10 role. He is expected to form part of City's central midfield trio in a 4-3-3, which I believe is to be Dean Smith's preferred setup for the Championship campaign. He is a very intense player who will fight for the team, and when the opportunity arises, he goes for goal. He has an abundance of skills. He can create and score goals, but also cover a tremendous amount of distance on a football pitch. He wants to get on the ball and look forward, and he makes really unselfish runs and is full of energy. Preston North End, Ben Woodburn. Woodburn is predominantly a winger, although he can play in central midfield or in the number 10 role behind the striker. He is blessed with pace, strength, skill, and a lethal eye for goal, all of which he's shown in his appearances to date for Liverpool and Wales. He's made 11 appearances for Wales, scoring 2 goals in the process, and he's also won the China Cup. He may only be 22, but Woodburn already has plenty of notable awards on his mantelpiece. During 2016-17, he was awarded the Academy Player of the Season at Liverpool, and also won the 2017 BBC Wales Young Sportsman of the Year. He was also nominated for the 2016-17 Premier League 2 Player of the Season, as well as the prestigious 2017 European Golden Boy Award. Queen's Park Rangers, Jake Clarke-Salter. Comparisons with Terry are always likely to be part of any young player's rise through the academy of Chelsea. Clarke-Salter may share a Chelsea heritage with Terry, but the comparison between both players and their style is much different. Terry has been celebrated for his great physical and mental qualities over the years. He's been a leader and a giant figure of a back for Chelsea, whose presence has been felt by most attackers who have come up against him. He's more than capable in possession, but it's his ability as an out-and-out defender that has always seen him receive plaudits. Meanwhile, Clark Sauter is showing similar signs of his game in terms of the ability, as he reads play well and he isn't shy of a tackle. He's confident bringing the ball out from the back and continues to show in his loan spells that he can play with the loan spells he had out. I think one of the or two of them won the championship, I can't remember. But he can play that more continental style, which is becoming ever more vital in modern football. Reading Naby Sarr. One thing that you can guarantee with Naby Sarr is he will all have supporters on the edge of their seats. He has a fantastic ability to carry the ball forward. He can take on his man and is a great finisher as well. He can leave you with your heart in your mouth when he takes on opposition players in his own half. But I think people underestimated his ability, as 9 times out of 10 he would pull it off. It was under Bowyer at Charlton where Naby really began to flourish. He ended up finishing runners-up in their Player of the Year awards at the end of their promotion-winning campaign, and that is an absolute testament to Naby and his character and attitude to come back and turn his career around. Naby is a fantastic passer of the ball and has great vision. Sarr's played for France's under-20 and under-21s teams, but because of his father's Senegalese heritage, he received a call up to the Senegal national football team in November 2019. Sarr is comfortable on the ball. As mentioned before, his ability to drive the ball forward and start attacks is one of his standout strengths. Rotherham United Cameron Humphreys. A powerful, fast, and footballing central defender with a fighting mentality. He sounds promising, certainly. He's made 55 appearances in the Belgian First Division A and 3 appearances on loan at Excelsior in the Eerste Divisie. He's also appeared for England in the under-16s, under-17s, under-18s, and under-19s. During a pre-season friendly, he actually coped admirably well against the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Gareth Bale, and Karim Benzema when they were all that formidable front three of the heyday of Real Madrid, which only now has Karim Benzema in, but certainly was quite a high-end sort of team of time. Sheffield United, Anel Ahmedhodzic, definitely mashed that one up. Centre backs are now held to irrational standards. They must possess elite athleticism, dominate every duel, pass like Thiago Alcantara, and never make a mistake. None can meet such hysterical expectations, but some do close, and Anel Ahmedhodzic did so albeit in the Allsvenskan, which is the Swedish top flight. His athletic profile is very dynamic. He combines imposing size with impressive mobility. His 6'4" frame stands out as it lopes around the pitch, almost always as the right-sided centre-back in a 4-man defence. Despite his long legs, he adjusts his feet and posture well. Moreover, he hits his long strides quickly and is a fast runner at top speed. The Bosnian covers big spaces efficiently and can catch most opponents. Whilst he needs to add muscle to his wiry physique to be stronger in contact, Ahmedhodzic is clearly a high-level athlete relative to his size and position. Crucially, the 21-year-old knows how to utilise his athletic advantages. He consistently makes the most of his size in defensive situations, leaving himself between ball and attackers, sealing off opponents or overwhelming strikers in his aerial duels. And he rarely concedes fouls in the process, exemplifying the intelligence and tidiness which underpins much of his defensive work. Ahmedhodzic anticipates situations capably, demonstrating competent decision-making and positional understanding in the way he reacts to what he reads. He knows when to step up to pressure a touch, drop off to cover depth, or delay attacks rather than dive in and expose his defence. His trademark sliding tackles are really indicative of the way he coordinates intelligence and athleticism. His timing and technique is often perfect, and his long legs wrap around the ball, and he regularly comes away cleanly with possession. His length is especially useful in duels, as he can stretch his long legs out to stand the ball away and save him in some awkward situations, which we all have. His defensive focus is predominantly forward as he assesses play and seeks to break up sequences ahead of him. In possession, Ahmed Hodzic excels. His comfort and composure on the ball is immediately obvious. He receives and releases possession with good touch and fluency, which enables him to play at a brisk tempo. He adds high-level progression, which with his passing too, a skill predicated on a great, clean, and crisp technique. He has the awareness to quickly spot and punch passes through the lines with ease. Another neat feature of his on-ball game is his ability to draw opponents on, then cut passes back across his body to find a free man, breaking the first line of pressure in the process. Stoke City, Josh Laurent. Laurent is a versatile midfielder who can play a number of roles: box to box, attacking midfielder, and right stroke left in a front three. I think his best role would be playing in the midfield three, with an emphasis on getting into and around the box. His strengths are athleticism, stamina, work rate, a good passer of the ball, strong in possession, and a good dribbler. Laurent is very adept at playing on the counter-attack, driving the ball forward. Laurent is an intelligent player and a good decision-maker, who rarely chooses the wrong option. Laurent has a top-notch work rate and isn't one of the players who would come in for criticism for work rate or shirking a challenge. Sunderland has a lot about this one. So, Daniel Ballard. Gary Rowett typically utilised a 5-2-1-2 shape for Millwall last year, and Ballard almost always played as the right centre-back of the three defensively. The defensive line was only screened by two midfielders due to the nature of the formation. Therefore, that was a massive emphasis on the centre-backs, having to plug the gaps either of the midfield line by stepping out of their slots. And Millwall were neither possession-based or a high-pressing side last year, generally sitting off in a mid-stroke low block and staying compact instead. This limited the space Ballard has to cover defensively in behind, and meant there was not many requirements in possession, with Millwall typically playing wide before looking to progress through the wing-backs. Overall, Ballard was part of the joint fourth-best defence in the division, conceding 45 goals across the season. Individually, he was just as impressive, excelling particularly in the defensive duels both on the ground and aerially, and in his long passing numbers. Ballard's biggest strength and attribute is his front foot defending. As mentioned, Millwall screen their defence with only two midfielders. Therefore, it is vital that the centre-backs are capable of stepping out to opposition players looking to receive in these spaces around and behind the midfield line. Ballard is superb at this, adopting an initial side-on position, which enables him to shuffle his feet quickly forwards when he needs to jump out of his position. He is very aware of when to step up or drop off, using triggers such as a loose touch or a closed body position to apply pressure. Ballard is a very aggressive and strong tackler, often leading with his front foot and snapping into duels using his body weight. Another strength of Ballard is how much he enjoys physical duels with opposition forwards. He will often get tight to his man and look to impose himself physically, preventing them from getting turned. Against physical forwards, Ballard handles himself well in his physical duels, both aerially and on the ground. In terms of his athleticism, Ballard is surprisingly quick given his height and build, and is very rarely outpaced when dragged wide into the channel. Ballard also has a great leap and is strong aerially, especially under pressure, which will be hugely valuable on both offensive and defensive set-piece situations. Arguably the most impressive yet less obvious side of Ballard's game is his defensive positioning and footwork. As mentioned, he adopts a side-on position to allow him to step out of his slot, but also to drop off when the situation warrants it. Ballard shows excellent awareness of when to drop and cover the space in behind him, especially when there is no pressure on the opposition player. Very rarely does a ball over the top drop in behind him due to his ability to quickly shift his feet and drop a few yards to defender a long ball in behind. Another impressive aspect of his footwork is when he is driven backwards by an attacker. Ballard positions his body to cut off and obvious passes and force the play into possession into an area he wants them to go, and then shows great understanding of when to step out and make a tackle. Finally, on crossing situations, Ballard again shows excellent defensive awareness, which allows him to defend his penalty box and 6 yard area. He is constantly scanning for the movements of opposition forwards, and importantly, he gives himself space in the box to react to these movements and take up the correct position. He is also comfortable clearing a ball with his left foot, which helps in recovering situations when he can't get himself set. Swansea City, Harry Darling. Although he's a ball-playing centre-back, his first job is to keep clean sheets, defend well and do that for the team. If he can do that bit first, then goals are just added extras, despite the fact he scored 7 goals at MK Dons in only 64 appearances. Russell Martin took Darling to MK Dons from Cambridge United, where he made 73 appearances after coming through the club's youth ranks. Darling was named in the 2021-22 League One Team of the Season, as well as winning the Players' Player of the Year prize at his club. He's very young and hungry and possesses all the attributes you need to play at the very top. He's got athleticism, mentality, technical ability, and first and foremost, he's a great character. Hence why Russell Martin's probably taken him with him to Swansea. Watford, Bakun Issouf Bayo. The 25-year-old joins the Hornets from RSC Charleroi after an exciting spell in the Belgium's top flight, where he scored 11 goals in 16 matches. An international with the Ivory Coast, the dynamic right-footed forward arrives with a host of European experience from both the Europa League and the Conference League. Having begun his professional career in Tunisia with Etoile du Sahel, Bayo got the opportunity to move to Dunajska Strida in Slovakia. I've definitely mashed them two names completely awfully together, but his goal scoring prowess was on display as he scored 22 times over 2 years, helping his team finish runners-up in the top flight in 2018. Notably during this season, or previous season that is, Bayo scored 3 goals over 2 legs in a Europa League qualifying round tie against Dinamo Tbilisi. The forward earned a move to Scottish champions Celtic, where he would play a part in a side that won the Scottish Premiership in 2019-20, alongside the Scottish League Cup. Bayo would be loaned out to Toulouse in France's second tier at the start of the 2020-21 campaign, scoring 13 in all competitions, as his side finished third in the league and progressed to the quarter-finals of the Coupe de France, in which he would contribute 4 goal involvements. After a move to Belgium's Ghent at the start of the last season, Bayo made a temporary switch that became permanent to Charleroi in December 2021, where he cemented his place, leading the line as the Zebras finished a very respectable 6th place. In addition, Bayo made his international debut for the Ivory Coast in an Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against the Central African Republic in 2018, having earned caps at youth level. West Bromwich Albion, Jayson Molumby. Brave, resilient, industrious, and not many players possess such uncoachable assets, let alone at the age of only 23. Born in Cappoquin and beginning his football career at Railway Athletic, Molumby showed promise from an early age with his determination and hard-working ethos. I think you could probably compare him to Roy Keane, Scott Brown maybe type of player, just working hard for the team really, and that's the type of player he wants to be. That was a quote by Jayson. Well, that's paraphrasing what Jayson Molumby said about himself when he joined Brighton in 2015 at the age of only 15 years old. After impressing for Ireland's youth ranks and Brighton's under-23 side, the midfielder earned himself a championship loan spell with Millwall, which is when I first became aware of him. This would prove to be a true learning curve, really, for the youngster, who adjusted well to the Lions' playing style and became hardened by the rough and tumble nature of the second tier. Getting international recognition along the way, the midfielder was called up for his country for the first time in August 2020 and has since racked up 14 appearances for Ireland, and a subsequent loan followed at Preston North End. Then came West Brom, who were preparing to implement Valérien Ismaël's high-energy style of play. It was a system that could prove to be perfect for Molumby, who worked with ease at such intensity that often seen towards the top of the distance covered charts in whichever side he would play. Ismaël, when he was in charge of West Brom, would play in a 3-4-3 with two central midfielders who would be expected to provide threats in the boxes. For the first 9 league games of the campaign, Ismaël didn't differ from the midfield pairing of Alex Mowat alongside club captain Jake Livermore. But he eventually got in due to an injury. And although not in a heavy possession, heavy side by any means, Molumby really showed some tidiness in the ball. He adapted well to playing in a double pivot role and was encouraged to spray the ball wide more often as an emphasis was placed upon him to progress the ball forwards. During the end of the season, Baggies fans saw really a different side to Molumby, though, contrasting to the erratic ball-winning nature previously seen. He showed calmness and security in possession. Molumby completed 73 passes against Barnsley on the last day of the season, which was quite impressive, really. He produced 12 passes into the final third during that final day victory over the Tykes, and that was at an accuracy rate of 83%. Steve Bruce's change in style from Ismaël's clearly does suit Molumby much better, with him looking calmer and a real safe option in possession, probably why they signed him. While on a permanent basis, anyhow. Whilst building on his uncoachable assets, Molumby has become a more than useful option at the base of Albion's midfield. When paired with the new signing OK Yokuslu, the 23-year-old can add good balance in the midfield, and with continuous guidance will link defence and attack with ease. His mentality is perfect, and the Irishman can go from strength to strength with the right guidance towards improving some of his technical abilities. But he's really showing all right signs. Finally, we've got Wigan Athletic with Ryan Nyambe. During his time at Ewood Park, Nyambe accrued over 213 appearances. He is a Namibian international defender, and Nyambe has said that he models his playing style on that of Rio Ferdinand. He is primarily a right back, but can also play at centre back, a position which he often features in for Namibia, and also at left back. A versatile and athletic defender who has represented his country in the Africa Cup of Nations and World Cup qualifiers during the past 3 years. Nyambe brings further championship experience to the Latics back line. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe if you're new around here. That'd be hugely appreciated on this very sorrowful day. I've got the history of your club coming back on Harrogate Town. Yes, that's Harrogate Town, which we're on now. But that will be my final video ever in Derby. Well, maybe not ever. Do some when I come back for the holidays. But I'm moving to university, which means that I will, unfortunately, leaving Derby, but it means plenty more content will be coming out in a location which I will tell you in the next video. But goodbye for now.